afternoon, you're watching ABC News GH. This is ABC Midday. I am Abna Mante. Coming up in the headlines. Former Minister of Defense Dominic Nitiwo has reflected on the erstwhile NPP government's efforts to address the long-standing conflict in Boko during his tenure. Stand by for what he said shortly. The controversy surrounding the anti-LGBTQ bill continues to spark heated debates across both political divides and social quarters. President Mahama has had his say on what he thinks should be done. We will bring you more on that shortly. Still to come in this bulletin, President John Mahama has announced key appointments to strengthen Ghana's national security framework. We will bring you a breakdown of the key figures in these appointments. And in business, Vice President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association has called on the government to implement a unified VAT system. On the international front, President Joe Biden has announced a one-time payment of $770 to California wildfire victims. Stay with us. We have these and more coming up shortly in the bulletin. Streaming live on our YouTube. The channel is ABC News GH. Heading straight into this afternoon's bulletin, President John Mahama has announced key appointments to strengthen Ghana's national security framework. The appointments, which include a national security advisor and heads of intelligence and operations, also aim to address ongoing security challenges, including the Boko conflict. Prosper Douglas Bani, a former Chief of Staff and Minister for the Interior, has been appointed as National Security Advisor. Mr. Bani is expected to bring his wealth of experience to enhance Ghana's security strategy. DCOP Abdul Osman Razak has been named National Security Coordinator. His role will focus on ensuring coordination and cohesion among the various security agencies. Retired Commissioner of Police Nathan Kofi Boakye will now serve as Director of Operations at the Presidency, overseeing operational strategies for enhanced security effectiveness. Additionally, Charles Kipo has been appointed Director General of the National Intelligence Bureau, tasked with strengthening intelligence gathering and security interventions. In a statement signed by acting spokesperson Felix Kwachiofosu, the president reiterated his commitment to enhancing national security and ensuring safety of citizens. The president, during his visit to Boko, also hinted at more key appointments in the defense and interior ministries as part of a strategy to tackle security challenges head-on. The statement and the appointed persons into the John Dramani Mahama government. So John Dramani Mahama has made some key national security appointments, and former Chief of Staff Prosper Douglas Bani is part of these new appointments. He has been appointed as the National Security Advisor to the President, and as a former Minister for the Interior, obviously he's bringing in a wealth of experience and expertise in terms of security. And you know, the president says that he will be appointing some security chiefs to be able to do the work, to handle the security of the nation, knowing that we have a crisis with the Boko conflict on our hands that he says he will be solving in his tenure. DCOP Abdul Osman Razak is also a part of these key appointments. He will serve as the National Security Coordinator and will ensure cohesive strategy across all security initiatives. Former boss in the police service, COP Nathan Kofi Boakye, who is retired, has been appointed Director of Operations at the Presidency. He will oversee operational effectiveness in security matters. Charles Kipo is the Director General of the National Intelligence Bureau, the NIB. And all of these persons' appointments will reflect President John Dramani Mahama's commitment to enhancing national security and ensuring the safety of citizens. So as a Ghanaian, knowing these people and their pedigree, how do you receive these appointments? How do you receive these appointments by the president or by the President John Dramani Mahama? And the statement, as we brought you, was signed by the acting spokesperson to the presidency, Felix Kwache Ofosu. Let me statement for you. The statement on their appointment is dated Wednesday, January 15, 2025. President Mahama makes key national security appointments. Former Chief of Staff Prosper Douglas Bani has been appointed National Security Advisor to the President. Mr. Bani, a former Minister for the Interior, brings a wealth of experience and expertise. DCOP Abdul Osman Razak will serve as the National Security Coordinator, ensuring a cohesive strategy across all security initiatives. COP Nathan Kofi Boakye, retired, has been appointed Director of Operations at the Presidency to oversee operational effectiveness in security matters. Charles Kipo has been named Director General of the National Intelligence Bureau. These appointments reflect President Mahama's commitment to enhancing national security and ensuring the safety of citizens. Signed, Felix Kwache Ofosu, acting spokesperson to the President. Away from that, the Office of the President has directed the recall of all diplomatic and service passports issued under the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo-led administration as part of efforts to enhance the integrity of Ghana's official travel documents and diplomatic engagements. In a statement dated January 14 and addressed to the Chief Director of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Callistus Mahama, Secretary to the President, emphasized that the recall aligns with the government's commitment to ensuring the proper use and administration of official travel documents in compliance with national and international standards. The President set January 24 as deadline for all holders of such passports to submit them to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. The ministry's chief director also directed to ensure that a thorough review will be conducted on all returned passports to ensure they align with the current eligibility criteria for issuance. Diplomatic and service passports are essential tools for representing Ghana's interests abroad. Passports on the return of all of these diplomatic and service passports. So it's also dated 14th January 2025. Recall of diplomatic and service passports. I write to request the recall of diplomatic and service passports issued by the previous administration. The exercise aligns with the government's commitment to ensuring the proper use and administration of official travel documents by national and international standards. The recall aims to prevent misuse, safeguard the country's reputation, and maintain the integrity of our diplomatic engagements. The ministry should take the following steps to facilitate the process. A. Issue a public notice. Notify all holders of diplomatic and service passports issued by the previous administration to return these documents to the ministry for verification and reissuance where applicable. B. Set a deadline for compliance. Specify a reasonable timeline for all concerned individuals to comply with the recall latest by 24th January 2025. C. Conduct verification. Undertake a thorough review of all returned passports to ensure that they align with the current eligibility criteria for issuance. Your cooperation and expedient action in this regard will contribute significantly to maintaining the credibility and efficiency of our country's passport system. Do not hesitate to contact my office for any further clarification or assistance you may need in executing this important exercise. Signed, Callistus Mahama, PhD, Secretary to the President. And that's it. Still on the President, John Dramani Mahama, he has formally requested Parliament's approval for the appointment of 10 regional ministers. A communication from the Presidency has been sent to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, seeking the vetting and confirmation of all nominees. The regional ministers include, for the Northern Region, Adolph John; for the Oti Region, John Kwejo Japong; for the Volta Region, James Gunu; for the Eastern Region, Mrs. Rita Akosua Ejel Awate; for the Northeast Region, Ibrahim Tia; for the Ashanti Region, Dr. Frank Amwakohene; for the Upper East Region, Akamugri Donato Zatanga; for the Ahafo Region, Charity Gardiner; for the Savannah Region, Sally Subi Aribe; and for the Greater Accra Region, Linda Oklu. The 6 outstanding regions who are yet to receive nominations for ministers are Bono East, Central Region, Western North, and Upper East Region. Upper West Region, beg your pardon. Well, so we're having a conversation with Dr. Richard Fiadomo. He is the president for the Chamber of Local Governance. Let's have some conversations with him on these appointments to the position of regional ministers. Good afternoon, Dr. Fiadomo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon to your Jerry station.
Dr. Fiadomo, the president has released a list of 10 regional ministers nominees. What are your initial thoughts on this list?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that the president gave all of us that within 14 days after being sworn in, he will put together all his ministers and announce them. So we are well within the 14 days he gave. So having brought the regional ministers first by, I think that we all know there are 16 regions. So having brought them, steps will be on the way. So we are waiting patiently to have every minister who has to be appointed. So basically, I think that they are going to be appointed all the same. So if that come now, it is a welcome call, and I believe the president is in the process of forming.
Okay. As the president for the Chamber of Local Governance, what are some of the qualities you are looking out for in these nominees of the president?
Thank you very much. If you look at the regional ministers, for example, they come to head the Regional Coordinating Council. And it is the duty and function of the RCC to ensure that they coordinate the activities of the MMDs within their respective regions. So, yes, they are coming to coordinate. So I believe, I know 2 out of the 10 that were named yesterday, and I believe even those that I do not know, they have what it takes to be able to manage the regions so that they can coordinate the activities of the MMDs in a very effective manner. So I believe that they have the capacity, and if Parliament approves them and then they are sworn in, they will be able to contribute to the agenda of the president in the regions as far as the 24-hour economy is concerned.
Okay. Dr. Fiadomo, in our previous conversations with you, you have raised certain concerns about our local governance, that you would expect some reforms in and to see the development of our local of our local and assemblies and municipal authorities. As these nominees' names have come up, we're looking forward to 6 more. When all of them are constituted, will we see that the Chamber of Local Governance will be seeking audience with them to be able to push forward some of the reforms you have been drumming home?
Thank you very much. Our foremost interest is to expand the frontiers of local governance and decentralization in this country. See to it that the local government authorities function the way they have to function effectively. You and I have been paying property rates, business operating permit, market tools, and all kinds of money to the assembly. When they take their money, they are supposed to deliver on the projects and indeed the development so that the ratepayers will also have a certain level of comfort within the area. We expect that they should attend to our roads, better.
Hello, Dr. Fiadomo.
Yes.
Yes, we lost you at a point. You were talking about the property rates and all we are paying.
Yes. These are single revenues to the assemblies, and by law, you and I are supposed to pay property.
Hello, Dr. Fiadomo.
Yes.
Yes, we seem to be losing you at certain points. Can you please position yourself so we can hear you fully?
Yeah, I can hardly hear you, so I don't know whether you're able to hear now.
Okay, we can hear you perfectly now. Initially, we were losing you at certain points.
So I don't know where it's from. All I'm trying to say is that we have interest in the functionality of our local government system and indeed our district assemblies. So we pay property rate, we pay business operating permit. So we expect as citizens that our roads, our street lights, the things that we need as citizens will be attended to by the district. So of course, as a chamber, we are hoping and waiting patiently for the president to form his government to appoint all the full set of the 261 MMDCs, and we will look forward to them performing the way they have to perform. As a civil society organization, we will hold their feet to fire to ensure that the local citizens enjoy the basic services that they have to get from the assemblies across the country.
Okay. Dr. Fiadomo, let me bring this in shortly before you leave. The president has visited Boko in the bid to bring some peace to the Boko enclave. He's spoken about what he will be doing for the people there. As local governance, what more should the president be looking at as he has gotten there to ensure that there's peace between the two factions?
Yeah, for me, I think that the president won the election through a manifesto. We expect the promises that have been made in the manifesto. Of course, if it is implemented, the 24-hour economy is properly implemented, it will create jobs, and within the local economic development within the district assemblies are also going to improve. Once businesses are doing well in the local areas, they will be able to pay property rates and business operating permit to the assemblies. Assemblies will have good revenue in terms of their internally generated funds. Then they will be able to also use those monies to do developmental projects for the citizens. So for me, I'm looking forward to everybody or every sector coming on board to ensure that the manifesto promise that the NDC, for which reason Ghanaians voted for them, is implemented to the latter, because we want this country to progress. Okay. The reason why Ghanaians voted out the MPP and brought the NDC is not because they hated Nana-Addo as a person or anything, but Ghanaians did not like the direction the MPP was taking Ghana, the reason why they voted them out. So once the NDC has come and they must implement their manifesto, I am happy that the president gave a social contract within 180 days. We expect that he will make sure that within the 120 days, within the 120 days, the social contract he has with Ghanaians, which he himself promised, must be delivered, and they will have confidence in the governance of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So, and I also want to talk and say that the appointees that are going to be brought on board, they should also make sure they mirror the vision of the president and ensure that they relate very well with us, the citizens, and then we can have the governance of the country going forward the way we all want it.
Okay, Dr. Fiadomo, I was asking about what you would prefer as some solutions for the president as he has visited Boko. Yesterday, he visited Boko to speak with the local people and their chiefs. As someone who is an expert on local governance, my question is, what could he do the more in addition to what he's already planning on doing to ensure that the peace that we all need to reign in Boko and its enclave does reign?
Yeah, thank you. I think that yesterday the president was there and he said he was going to put his the top brass of the security agencies this week, and I have seen a release from the presidency appointing a national security advisor, coordinator, and all that. So for me, it is a step to prove that the president is committed to peace in Baku, and that's why I have said that yes, people have been appointed. If they do not mirror the vision of the president, there cannot be any peace. The president on his own cannot go and see to it that there is peace in Baku. That is why he has used his powers to appoint people to those positions. So that's why I'm talking in general terms that now that people have been appointed, if the National Security Coordinator does not see peace in Baku as a number one priority as the president has done, it is not going to solve the problem. That's why I'm calling for appointees to mirror the vision of the president, and anything that the president sees as a number one priority, they also see it as such and make sure that we can bring peace to Baku. The issue of Baku clearly has some political undertone, and that is why it's unfortunate that anytime the MPP is in government, the Baku chieftaincy tries to raise its ugly head. You have a situation whereby a rival chief, the Baku chief who has been on the skin for over 30 years, you have a rival chief being protected by the then government and leading to violence. So I believe John Dramani Mahama's government will not shield any rival chief, and that is the first step. And we hope and pray that those who have been appointed as national security officers will also prioritize Baku as the president himself has done. And I believe that over time, Baku will return to its normal glory.
Okay. We're most grateful for your time this afternoon, Dr. Fiadomo.
The pleasure is mine.
Dr. Richard Fiadomo is the President's Chamber of Local Governance. Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has appointed Justina Nelson as the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Income Investment Fund, effective immediately. This appointment follows the President's decision to revoke Edward Nanaya Krangting's appointment less than 24 hours earlier. Justina Nelson, who is currently the Group Head at Zenith Bank, overseeing both the energy and commercial banking sectors, brings a wealth of experience from the mining and finance industries. She has played her many roles in the private and public institutions, and in a statement from the presidency, it was confirmed that the appointment was made in accordance with Article 195+1 of the Constitution and Section 21+2 of the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act 2018, Act 978. Nelson holds multiple academic qualifications, including a Master of Laws in Corporate and Commercial Law, a Master of Business Administration and Marketing, a Bachelor of Laws Honors, and a Bachelor of Arts Honors in Management and Psychology. Well, let's look at some stories about Boko. Former Minister of Defense Dominic Nitiwo has reflected on the New Patriotic Party's government's efforts to address the long-standing conflict in Boko during its tenure. Speaking on the matter, Nitiwo acknowledged that while significant strides were made to maintain stability, the inability to achieve lasting peace remains a notable regret for the outgoing administration. He elaborated on the measures taken by the government, which included deploying security forces, fostering dialogue among stakeholders, and collaborating with traditional and community leaders. Despite these efforts yielding temporary stability, they did not result in a long-term resolution of the conflict.
You cannot say funding was not an issue. Of course, funding in the context of what was available. So what was available as a country, the challenges we face in the economy, if you take Boko as a country, or even security in the, as a bigger picture, I would say that we did receive our fair share. So that I must put on record. Secondly, when it comes to the issue of equipment and the ability to act and act decisively, and the ability to be able to say what is right, we did say that, and everybody knows it's on record. The position of the government is the ability to act. But there's one thing everybody must understand. You cannot take the level of force and unleash on your own citizens as it would have happened to an invading force or an enemy combatant. If another country were to invade Ghana, the amount of firepower that the armed forces were. You cannot say funding was not an issue. Of course, funding in the context of what was available. So, what was available as a country, the challenges we face in the economy. If you take Boko as a country, or even security in the, as a bigger picture, I would say that we did receive our fair share. So that I must put on record. Secondly, when it comes to the issue of equipment and the ability to act and act decisively, and the ability to be able to say what is right, we did say that, and everybody knows it's on record. What we have, the position of the government is, the ability to act. But there's one thing everybody must understand. You cannot take the level of force and unleash on your own citizens as it would have happened to an invading force or an enemy combatant. If another country were to invade Ghana, the amount of firepower that the armed forces were unleashed.
Still on this matter of Boko, security analyst Adib Sani has intimated that the president's visit to Boko and Nalerigo as part of measures to resolve the long-standing impasse is a bold and major step. President John Dramani Mahama on Tuesday, January 14, visited Boko and Nalerigo to reaffirm his commitment to restoring peace in Boko, describing it as one of his administration's top priorities. The president had closed-door engagement with the various chiefs and paramount chiefs involved in the conflict during his visit.
And the fact that this is the president's first visit outside of Accra since his inauguration is to no other place but Boku means he has Boku at heart. It means he's committed to ensuring that peace is restored in the area, knowing full well the level of security ramification the issue poses to the whole of Ghana. One of the major issues I have had with the past administration with respect to dealing with the issue of Boku is the ad hoc, unsustainable interim ways of dealing with the issue. Once there is skirmishes, they are firing, send more boots on the ground, and that is it. There hasn't been any scientific, beyond the everyday approach to dealing with the issue. Okay, and President John Mahama made this promise during his campaign that he is committed to addressing the issue. The main actors, the Zoran, Na Abu Grago, and the Najiri is a major step in the right direction because it forms the very basis. And the fact that this is the president's first visit outside of Accra since his inauguration is to no other place but Boku means he has Boku at heart. It means he's committed to ensuring that peace is restored in the area, knowing full well the level of security ramification the issue poses to the whole of Ghana. One of the major issues I have had with the past administration with respect to dealing with the issue of Boku is the ad hoc, unsustainable interim ways of dealing with the issue. Once there is skirmishes, they are firing, send more boots on the ground, and that is it. There hasn't been any scientific, beyond the everyday approach to dealing with the issue. Okay, and President John Mahama made this promise during his campaign that he is committed to addressing the issue. The main actors, the Zoran, Na Abu Grago, and the Najiri is a major step in the right direction because it forms the very basis. And the fact that this is the president's first visit outside of Accra since his inauguration is to no other place but Boku means he has Boku at heart. It means he's committed to ensuring that peace is.
Well, so that's Adib Sani, security expert on the Boko issue. Let's take a look at Boko and what has transpired so far, some of the casualties that have been recorded as a result of this conflict and how it has affected the people in and around the Boko enclave. Over 200 fatalities have been recorded since November 2021, and 5 deaths have also been recorded in gun-related clashes. These were recorded in February 2024. More than 15 fatalities were reported in a recent clash, all because of this Boko conflict. What are some of the underlying causes of this conflict? It is a long-standing chieftaincy dispute between the Kusasi and Mamprusi groups, and as a result, we have seen an influx of sophisticated arms, including AK-47s and G3 rifles, likely smuggled from Burkina Faso. We've had conversations that have gone to assert that Burkina Faso has been a hub that has really contributed to some of these clashes in Boko, because that is where likely they receive or they're able to source their weapons from into Boko. There have been also suspected terrorist activities exacerbating the conflict, and these are some underlying causes of the Boko conflict at the moment. The implications of this conflict is that over 1,000 people have been displaced to nearby towns. Obviously, security issues, the issues of no security in the town has caused people to flee out of Boko. Because of this, they've moved to nearby towns such as Bolgatanga, Navrongo, and Sandema. And these towns will also see pressure on their local resources. These are some implications of conflicts and war every single time. Widespread business closures and high employment rates due to instability in the region. Businesses have been affected because of this. And if businesses are affected, the livelihoods of people will also be affected. Still on Boko, Reverend Professor John Azuma, who is the president of the Kusaug People's Congress, has called for dialogue between political leaders and the people of Boko to address the ongoing conflict. Speaking on ABC in the morning, he highlighted the role of security forces and partisan politics in fueling the violence and urged the government to relieve security personnel who he believes are becoming part of the problem. Reverend Azuma's comments follow President John Dramani Mahama's visit to Boko, where he reaffirmed his commitment to resolving the conflict.
Those kinds of steps. So for me, it shows some level of commitment on the part of the president. But just to reiterate some of the things that my brother Roxanne was saying earlier, I think it's very, very important that we know that this conflict cannot be solved unless truth is told. Unless truth is told, unless people are honest, unless there is a political will. The whole idea of let's dialogue, let's sit down and let's negotiate is what has led us all these years to this point. People have to be told the truth, those kinds of steps. So for me, it shows some level of commitment on the part of the president. But just to reiterate.
Well, let's look at some other stories away from Boko. The controversy surrounding the anti-LGBTQ bill continues to spark heated debates across both political divides and social quarters. The bill, which received its first public hearing in 2021 and subsequently passed by Parliament in February 2024 through a private member's bill, has yet again seen another twist as President John Dramani Mahama has suggested a government-sponsored LGBTQ bill as opposed to one by private members.
The anti-LGBTQ+ bill, which seeks to criminalize LGBTQ+ activities, has been at the center of debate for years. During the campaign period, then opposition leader John Dramani Mahama criticized the Akufo-Addo administration for a delay in signing the bill. He also made his stance clear on the issue.
Me duty in my faith is against LGBTQ. Me Assemblies of God me. If we say the faith I have, Empany say Bema, Bewari Bema, Oba, Bewari Oba. Bill a war parliament, Omunyam passing, but say aban akyerɛ sɛ sɛ ɔmo paase a president on sign. If he say the attorney general like can say bibi a private members motion obetimi a pass a bill with a private members motion, but any say edekabia ebeto aban so. And based on that technicality, President Asegna say on signing. In terms say idea between Parliament and the executive, omoshe na omokan ebia sombeshe bill numwa normal share bibia, it puts a charge on government na omoye no everywhere. Then it opens the way for the president to be happy to sign the agreement. And so me personally begin this and a man is a man, a woman is a woman. Me believe it say nipa utimi sorry ka say me fili wo me mu say me oba. And so ya wo me be mind to me cause sa no ma your oba. Baby, I mean, nature created us man and woman. And Nyame Boyano, he knew what he was doing when he created us like that. And so if you ask me, my personal faith is against it.
Recent discussions have reignited speculations about the potential consequences Ghana could face on the international stage if the bill was signed. In response, Sam George, the lead sponsor of the bill, has expressed confidence that the President, John Dramani Mahama, will endorse the legislation.
You know, that's a misconception that's been put out. And I listened to that full BBC interview. President Mahama has been clear that he will sign that bill, and he has no option than to sign that bill. President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill. And he himself has said that to the clergy, that as a Christian, as a member of the Assemblies of God Church, he will sign that bill.
However, President John Dramani Mahama's recent remarks at a meeting with the Catholic bishop have added a new layer to the debate. He suggested that the bill be made a government bill and a curriculum in schools be changed to teach students and uphold family values.
With regards to the proper human sexuality, it's quite a long name, proper family values bill. If you remember, there was a court case that injuncted the speaker from forwarding it to the president, and also restrained the president from receiving the bill. Eventually that case was disposed of in December, I think on the 18th or so. Yeah, so it meant that the injunction had been cleared. But as far as I know, the bill did not get to the president for assent. And so the convention is that all bills that are not assented to before the expiration of the life of Parliament expire. And so that bill effectively is dead, it has expired. I don't know what the promoters of the bill intend to do, but I do think that we should have a conversation on it again so that all of us, if we decide to move that bill forward, move it forward with a consensus. And probably it shouldn't be a private member's bill, it probably should be a government bill with governments behind it after consultation with all the stakeholders to see how we're able to move this forward. But it leads us back to the discussion we had that if we're teaching our values in school, we won't need to pass a bill to enforce, our family values. And that's why I think more than even the family values bill is us agreeing on a curriculum that inculcates